So in a couple of projects you may already have seen, I was cutting out these squares from kind of the offcuts of my plywood. So I have managed to bodge together or collect together 160 tiles, which means I can make 2 full sets of Carcasonne pieces. So I think that's going to be better for making a larger batch. I'm not sure if that's a wise idea in particular, but making a larger batch is easier to kind of put together. So I've drawn out again the different tile shapes, details. There are 5 or 6 different variations online, but this is kind of the most consistent set of different shapes and landscapes and whatever. So there are 26 different variations, whether they have grass or city or roads or buildings or whatever. So I have numbered my my blocks here, and on the ones that have cities on, I have masked off where the city goes, because I want to use the wood facing itself as the city. So it will be masked off, just a plain masking tape just to kind of cover that section. I haven't done any kind of finishing on any of these. They're still very rough around the edges, which is kind of what I want, because I want to be able to get a clean paint on front and back with a bit of texture around the side. So I'll do that by kind of sanding and moulding these back when I get to that. Now I've decided on how I'm going to paint these. I was debating actually kind of hand painting each one individually, but no, there's part of my brain that just says no to that. So I'm going for some spray paint. So I've got red and green here, and I'm going to use black or gold on the backs. I haven't decided yet. And I'm also intending to do a little bit of gilding, although that may not happen. We shall see. So I've got these stacked up by kind of what they are essentially, and I need to just separate them out according to how much processing they need. So I know that tile number 15 is just a city tile, just a plain city tile. So those I'm going to remove and put in the box because I don't need those yet. Now I want to separate out those that have got roads on and those that have just got city and grass. So anything with a road I'm going to put to this side. 1s, 22s, 23s, 25s, 20s, road. All of these. And those. Right, so these ones here are just city and grass, essentially. So, oh no, I missed something there, didn't I? Oh, that's fine. Certain things like the small buildings and things I'm going to gild or do something separately to mark them out. These will only need the 2 coats of paint, whereas these will need a white coat as a primer, then I'll need the roads masking, and then the green coat on top. So I wouldn't normally do a primer and then a paint coat, but I think I'm probably going to need some sort of primer underneath this green, because the colour of the wood is quite a dark red when it's finished, so having the white base should help that. So I've got my 2 stacks of tiles. I want to keep them more or less in their groups, which should make it easier for me to apply the masking and do all that kind of stuff. So these don't need any masking at all. Right, so I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to be able to get all of them on one board, but if I can, that will be an ideal one-stop place to put them, essentially. So I'll just line them up, give them a spray paint, let them dry, and then sort out the second layer. So I'm not going to do anything really particular about gluing these down, because I don't want to be pulling off too much of the back surface. That's going to make finishing difficult. So what I'm going to do is just turn over the corners of the masking tape here and stick down strip. Now for this side, I don't, I'm not really concerned about doing the sides because, as I said, I'm going to be finishing those later. So I want to pack these fairly tight. So I'm going to leave about 1/4 of an inch border around the outside and just pack them in quite close together like that. So you can see I'm keeping the sets more or less together. These ones it's not so much of a problem because these are just paint and go. But the other ones I want to keep the sets together so I can take them off and finish them as I go. Or do the next lot of masking. So it's going to take a while for me to glue all these down. I think I'm going to stick a bit of tape going in that direction, just to kind of stop things from shifting too much. So, if I had a kind of spray adhesive or something that I trusted to release, I would use that, but I think this is going to be a better option. We'll see how that works. Okay, so let's take a couple more at this end. Now I'm going to continue on down, see how many I can get first, and then I'll do a bit of calculating whether or not I need another. Oh yeah, I'm going to need another board. They are very rough and ready, and they've got a lot of texture around the edges because I didn't even try to smooth the edges really. I just kind of filed off any kind of splintery bits. But I like the feeling. I like the kind of contrast in the feeling of these. So I'm going to keep it like that for this set. I might do something a little more woodworky for the other set, but this is my kind of go-to set of tiles. But I can't just keep them in a tub because that would just be ridiculous. And I've still got to work it. I've got to make the little counterpieces as well. So probably enough for this video, but next video I'm going to be unpacking and setting up my new table saw, and then doing my first lot of table sawing really, and you'll see where these come from, and you'll also see what I do with 60 individual sticks of wood. So I'll see you again next week.